Hello everyone, welcome back to Run the NBA, and today I wanted to talk about the most untradeable young player on the Los Angeles Lakers, and that is Talen Horton-Tucker. But I don't want to talk about his trade value, I don't want to talk about the Lakers' unwillingness to trade him throughout the last 12 months. I want to talk about what his fit and role is going to be on this LA Lakers team moving into next year. This is a team that has made a massive trade in acquiring Russell Westbrook and added a bunch of veterans to go on the bench. That leaves the rotation and the roles of some of these players very much up in the air. And so, along with this series that I am doing, talking about young players and rookies across the NBA and how they are going to fare next year, I wanted to talk about Talen Horton-Tucker and discuss what the possible roles are for him next year and how he could do in that role moving forward. With that being said, if you do go on to enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. With that being said, let's go ahead and let's talk about Talen Horton-Tucker. So, when we're going to talk about Talen Horton-Tucker in this context, let's just first speak a little bit about the possibilities of rotations and lineups and roles that the Lakers could have, and in turn, Talen Horton-Tucker could have with the Lakers next season. Now, of course, AD has very much expressed his dislike with playing the 5, especially throughout the regular season, as he doesn't like that physicality, the banging, the bruising, you name it, and it makes sense given how much of an injury history he has had throughout his NBA career. That being said, there's been a report that came out today as of the day I'm recording this, which is September 15th, from someone within Rich Paul's camp, or Rich Paul himself, saying that the plan is to have LeBron at the 4 and AD at the 5 for this season. Whether there's any truth to that, I don't know. I find that hard to believe, given the fact that they just brought in DeAndre Jordan, and so they now have DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard to be their centers. I don't see why they would bring in DeAndre Jordan otherwise, but nonetheless, there's definitely some conflicting reports there. Dwight Howard might be the starting 5, AD might be the starting 5, so it's a little bit hard to say how that one could go. Either way, I don't think Talen Horton-Tucker starts for this team, and here's why. Personally, I don't think at this point in time in his career, and with his current skill set, that Talen Horton-Tucker is an ideal secondary option for this team. I don't think he's an ideal guy to have alongside LeBron, alongside AD. And the reason being is, historically throughout LeBron's career, LeBron is best around guys that can space the floor and shoot the 3. That is not Talen Horton-Tucker. Talen Horton-Tucker creates his own shot, attacks the rim, has a bit of a mid-range game, and does shoot about 2 threes per game, but isn't overly efficient with those threes. He shot about 31% from deep in year 1 and 28% last year. This is not a high-level three-point shooter. This is not a floor spacer. He's definitely not a floor spacer when you compare him to the level of three-point shooting that is around him. You're talking about Malik Monk. You're talking about even someone like Kent Bazemore, who has better three-point shooting than him more often than not. You're talking about Trevor Ariza, Carmelo Anthony. As far as your guards go, Kendrick Nunn is also in the discussion as well. Now, of course, not all of those guys are competing for minutes precisely with THT, but nonetheless, they are better spacers that fit better alongside LeBron. Wayne Ellington also in the mix. Those are the types of guys that could start. Even if LeBron is at the 4 and AD is at the 5, I would expect shooters like Monk, Ellington, or Trevor Ariza to be in the starting lineup more so than Talen Horton-Tucker, because Talen Horton-Tucker without the ball in his hands as a floor spacer and catch and shoot three-point guy is fine, but it's not ideal for what LeBron James is going to want around him. So that leads Talen Horton-Tucker to most likely being in a bench role. At least that's where I think he will be best. That's where I think he will be. Now again, as we previously mentioned, Talen Horton-Tucker is best with the ball in his hands when he can create his own shot, as far as I'm concerned. Is this starting to sound familiar? Kyle Kuzma? Just saying. Not quite the same caliber of player, and Talen Horton-Tucker's better defensively at this point in time in his career, and I think he has a lot more upside. But nonetheless, the fit alongside LeBron definitely seems questionable from a young player who's a former prospect and pick of the Lakers. When you're talking about the bench, I still don't know that Talen Horton-Tucker is going to have the ball in his hands all that much to really create his own offense. Because you're talking about Kendrick Nunn, Rajon Rondo, Malik Monk, Carmelo Anthony, all being guys that could be and most likely will be coming off the bench, which is guys that are either going to have the balls in their hand or are going to be creating their own shot just as much or more than Talen Horton-Tucker will be. So as much as Talen Horton-Tucker will have more chances on the bench, will have more chances in the second unit, He's still not going to be a primary guy for this team. His role and his importance for this team is significantly less than it was last year as far as needing his bench scoring. And it may result in a decrease in shot attempts for him, and I think it's going to result in a role that isn't best for him and his effectiveness on the offensive end. You definitely still could see him get some minutes and still give some production, but personally, Kendrick Nunn is probably, or Rajon Rondo, probably going to be your primary ball handlers off of the bench. Malik Monk, in my opinion, is a much better scorer and most certainly an extremely better three-point shooter than Talen Horton-Tucker. And Carmelo Anthony is as well, even still at this point in time in his career. So there's multiple guys that are going to be ahead of the line of Talen Horton-Tucker for touches, for shot attempts, and for creating their own offense or offense for others on this Lakers team, even in the second unit. And so Talen Horton-Tucker, sure, will be able to have some offense created for him within that second unit, and he will still have some touches to create some offense for himself. But at the end of the day, there's also going to be scenarios where he's going to have to be a floor spacing, catch and shoot three-point guy for a significant portion of the time he is on the court, and that's just not his strength. Now, if he continues to improve that this season and really has improved on his three-point shot and looks like he can be a solid catch and shoot three-point shooter, great. All the better for him. Then he has a much more important, more impactful, and more significant role on this team. But as of right now, I don't think Talen Horton-Tucker is a great fit within this group, specifically with any LeBron-led lineup. And even within the bench, I think he's going to struggle to be as good as his potential could allow him to be in a better role. I'm not saying Talen Horton-Tucker is going to be worse than he was last year. I'm just saying the role he's going to be in might lead him to look worse than he was last year, because roles are undervalued in this league. Certain players in certain roles, for good or for bad, can really up or decrease their level of play and their level of production. And I feel like that role is going to lead Talen Horton-Tucker to have a worse year than he otherwise would if he was in a better role and a better scenario for his play style than he will be with the Lakers. That is my thoughts. May be controversial, but that's how I feel about Talen Horton-Tucker with the LA Lakers next year. As I mentioned just previously, this is not me saying that Talen Horton-Tucker is going to be any worse. In fact, I don't think he will be in any stretch, and I think he still has a lot of upside in the league and will continue to improve and can still be a very good NBA player. I just don't think this is a very good role for him. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. If you guys agree, if you guys disagree, if you think I'm crazy, let me know what you think. I'll be sure to have a discussion with you guys down in the comment section. But with that being said, if you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And if you want to hear my thoughts on other young players or rookies going into next season, then be sure to click the box on the right hand side of the screen. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.